How's it going, everyone? It's Than from Tidal Gardens, and it's time for another tank update. No, this is not an update on Paul's tank. Nothing is really new with this setup, but plenty is new with my good buddy Nathan's tank, so let's take a quick look. First and foremost, this tank has a gorgeous new stand. In last year's video, you probably didn't notice the stand, and that was no mistake. It was just a black steel frame that just recently got this decorative skin made from oak and stained a red mahogany color. Besides the obvious craftsmanship of the stand, it features child-proof doors that use a magnetic safety latch. Also, there is now a decorative top frame which solved a minor issue of light spill from the hanging LEDs. Nathan's tank is now roughly a year old. If you want to take a waltz down memory lane, click on the annotation to see what his system used to look like. I love looking back at photos and videos of my tank because it's hard to notice just how far tanks have come because we look at them every day. In this tank, it's clear that some of the corals grew considerably. The SPS stick out in this regard. Take this Samacora for example. It looks like it's put on about 40% more mass. This Pavona is another fast-growing SPS. It's clearly showing some encrusting growth at its base, which is a good sign considering I want a frag of this for my tank. Okay, last comparison. This is Nathan's jack-o'-lantern Leptis. It's certainly bigger than before, but it's grown even more than that considering that it's been fragged several times to this point. Nathan is, shall we say, a collector. And the other obvious difference between this year and last is the sheer number of frags that he's added. I could spend another 30 minutes showing corals and probably would miss a dozen or so high-end coral frags. Every surface, it seems, has something glued to it, and even the sand is running out of real estate. In all seriousness though, he's going to have to make some tough choices in the coming months. If he doesn't, the corals are going to make those tough choices for him. In the wild, everything on the reef is battling for real estate and competitive advantage. People always ask whether a particular coral will take over their tank. Some corals do grow faster than others, but all corals sure as heck are trying to take over, and some are simply better at it than others. Nathan is by no means a beginner, and I expect this system will continue to develop beautifully into the future. However, this issue is an aspect of reef keeping that many beginners fail to see. You have to plan for success every bit as much as for failure. One of the most common ways to lose coral is not from disease or a cataclysmic tank crash, but rather from coral aggression as a result of healthy corals growing and getting too close for comfort. If you take away any lesson from this video, it's this: give your corals plenty of room to grow. It's audience participation time. The question I have for you guys is, what advice would you give to a beginner in this hobby that isn't usually covered? I'm thinking something along the lines of life hacks for the Reef Aquarium hobby. Is there something you wish an experienced hobbyist had told you before you made a particular mistake? Let me know in the comments below. I suppose no tank video would be complete without at least some discussion about the hardware used to run it. For filtration, the tank employs a number of technologies. Nathan is using a Super Reef Octopus 3000 internal skimmer, a biopellet reactor, and runs both carbon and GFO reactors. The flow in the tank is provided in part by the return pump, but there are several large Tunzi power heads and a Tunzi wave box as well. Water chemistry is maintained by a combination of water changes and a dosing system to periodically dose 2-part calcium and alkalinity supplements. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, click on this annotation here to get the latest updates. It's been a pleasure checking in on Nathan's tank progress. His tank is one of the nicest I've seen in person. I'm sure he makes the good people of Mexico proud. Until next time, happy reefing.